Alright, and because I thought I had recorded this earlier, but apparently when I checked to see what the date was, it messed up. I'll show you the garden number 2 with the feeder pigs in it, because they're currently in there. And they head to the butcher the 9th of November, so. And they're pretty playful. But this is what we did with the first garden, the same thing. We ran them in there for, I think, 8 or maybe 12 weeks. But as you can see, I mean, they've been in here for 4 weeks and they still don't have all this tore up. And they're playful, they just run, jump around, they like little dogs. They find something to play with, a stick or something, and then they'll swing it around in their mouth. And apparently they're out of feed, which I bought it back today, so I will fill up their feed here in a second. And this was a garden this last year, which was its first year of garden. And before that, it was just field. Hurricane Sally came through, I think, like last September or something. And so I piled up all the branches out here just because I could easily drag them around with the truck out to here. We burned them, so it has some burnt wood in it. And then I've been trying to get, like, you can see the grass right there. This area right here was corn. My little pigs. Well, they're not so little, they're pretty big, but oh, they're pretty fun. So, little fatties. I forgot to soak them some corn today. I've been giving them corn every 3 days. I soak it for 12 hours, and then I usually add a beer into it too, just because, why not? Let's see what happens. See if it helps make them taste better or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, so they just, and they'll root right up to the hot fence, and that's about it, which is really nice, which is why we had to shovel all the dirt away on the last garden. And this little shelter I got, and we've been piecing together as we go or whatever. It'll eventually have 3 solid sides on it and be good from there, but I don't know. They seem to be happy, so why not? So this is an automatic water I hooked up. I had trenched water line to the other garden, but this one I haven't gotten that far yet, and it's just a hose right into the house. So eventually I'll run water out to here. I just didn't feel like doing it since they're only going to be out here for like 7-8 weeks, 2 months, yeah. So, and they're not overly starving or looking for food because there's still grass in the middle. The last garden that I ran them out of food for, I think, 3 different days, and they tore up everything, so they must have just ran out. It seems as though once they run out of food, they knock over their feeder and then start digging, which is, it is what it is. And then the little pigs and the sheep also I had running from the barn that's over there and into the run that runs along the trees, and then out into this half pasture. I haven't solidified the corners yet because I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet. But I had sheep on it until the sheep kind of they didn't perform as well as I thought they were going to. I don't know what happened, but they got folded up, and then I was running the pigs out here, the little pigs. And once they figured out that they could get underneath the fence, I put them back into their enclosure with the hot fence, so that way they don't escape anymore. So I don't know what was with them. So I don't know. They might have smelled something. I found them up underneath one of the pecan trees, so they didn't make it too far. Other than that, these are my chicken tractors. Just, I don't know. The 2 big ones are 8x8. That one's brand new. I still got to put the sides on it. I got a couple weeks before I have to do that for the chicks. The little one's 4x8. I do a square 1.5 feet per chicken when I run them. So And then they get moved every day when they're in the chicken tractors. Just drag it one drag mark, which I'll do another video on that because it's super interesting. And yeah, the field's kind of mellowed out, so the chicken manure seems to last about a year and a half before it kind of petered out more or less, or got absorbed or washed down too far for the grass to get, or maybe it was just end of summer when everything stopped growing. So I don't know. I'll show you the chickens too, the baby chicks. The last batch of chickens I got was a batch of, I ordered 50, they sent me 60. I lost a couple on arrival, which is whatever. And then two got crushed underneath. They got cold, so they all piled together. Well, two of them ended up at the bottom of the pile. And then another two, I think, got into the water somehow and got their feathers wet and then drowned. So I mean, that's what it is. What it is. What are you gonna do? Not that big of a deal. But the 50 that I got, we ended up with 54 when we slaughtered them, or processed them, whatever. And just their whole life cycle was amazing. They did incredibly well. But right now, a 4x8, just some plywood I just ripped in half and threw together because I was kind of in a panic and just needed to get some stuff done. I was running them in totes, but they quickly outdo the totes. But, I mean, and I hate when they're this little, they just look dead until they decide to move. But there's 68 in here now. When they arrived a day early to the post office, which is fine. And then I got them all set up. Whatever, I dip them, I hand dip them into the water so that way they know, and I make sure that they're all drinking, or at least most of them are all drinking whatever water, so that way they know where water is at, and I don't have to worry about it. But then they started dying. I went to work, came back, there was like 4 or 5 dead. I'm like, oh, that's weird. By the time we went to sleep that night, we had lost 11 or 12, and then another 15 by the next morning. And all in 48 hours, because the hatchery I use has a 48-hour refund or replace policy, and by the time that happened, I lost 30 of them, or 33 of them. So I don't know, it was weird. So I don't know. I contacted them, let them know what's going on. They said that they have heard of similar problems with this week's batch, so whatever. I mean, it is what it is. They're replacing them. They're sending me 70 instead of the 30 that I lost, so that'll be interesting. I don't have enough room for 138 chickens, but I don't know. We'll wing it from here, so it is what it is. But I don't know. I'll probably do a video on moving the chickens, processing the chickens, what the yard looks like, hopefully before and after, or the pasture looks like before and after. Depends on where we run them at. I've been trying to run them through all the grass and whatnot. It helps fertilize everything. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to watch everything grow, and then I drag it with like a pull behind tiner that I pull behind the mower. So, all right.